Hello everyone, good morning and welcome back to Sports Today. We bring you this video segment every morning to help you catch up on what all has been happening in the world of sport whilst you were getting some of that all important sleep. Because let's face it, whilst you need sleep, I need sleep, the whole world needs sleep, the world of sport doesn't really sleep. There's always something or the other going on, and it can be a little tough to keep abreast of all those developments unless you actually don't have much to do and you're constantly checking. But I get it, that can be tough. Luckily for you guys, that's our job and that's what we enjoy doing. So without further ado, let's catch you up on a few interesting things that you might have missed out on, starting with a pretty big thing: the Women's Premier League schedule. Now, it hasn't officially been released yet, but a few inside sources have told Sports Today about what the schedule will look like, and we can break it for you right here, right now, and tell you how exactly it is that the games are going to go. So there are two key things to remember. One, the tournament will start from February 23rd. That is exactly a month from today. It'll be starting on February 23rd. It ends on March 17th, which is about a few days before the IPL is set to start. So February 23rd to March 17th. Those are the dates. All of the games are going to be played mostly in two cities. You're going to be playing in Bangalore and you're going to be playing in Delhi, with most of the latter stages, especially the knockouts, taking place in New Delhi. Before that, most of the matches will be taking place in Bangalore. So as of now, there's no real movement from the stance of having it in, say, one or two cities. There has been plenty of talk, let's say, about moving to a home and away format for these franchises, but I don't think neither the board nor the organizers see it as a viable option just yet. But the good news is that this time around there's not going to be any double headers. So according to the schedule which we have access, no double headers every day, one game only, and it's going to be a near month-long thing. The first match, by the way, is going to be a rematch of last edition's finals. So you're going to see the Mumbai Indians take on the Delhi Capitals in the first game of the 2024 edition of the Women's Premier League. So that's the big news there. And there's more big news, since we're talking about players who potentially get to stardom from the T20 format. There's more good news around this man right here, Rinku Singh. What exactly is that news? Well, Rinku Singh has now been added to the India A squad for the second as well as third unofficial test that will be taking place against the England Lions. Now, you'd remember that Rinku had been named in the squad for the third unofficial test, but now he's been put in the second unofficial test as well, alongside of Tilak Verma. Tilak, you remember, was in both the second and the third. Rinku was just in the third. Now, both Rinku and Tilak will potentially be available to play for the India A side in the second and third unofficial test that they will be taking on the England Lions in. Now, why this is massive? Well, quite frankly, you can see that India are trying to have bench strength when it comes to middle order batters. And again, someone like a Rinku has performed really well in domestic circuit for the past few years. Most people will see him as a T20I player, but check out his domestic numbers. They're pretty good. Someone who for the past 4-5 seasons been averaging about 50 plus in domestic red ball cricket. And even Tilak is someone who's much younger, but also someone who has, when played, showed plenty of promise in domestic. And don't forget, he's also the captain of Hyderabad. So definitely someone who's seen with a lot of pedigree. Having both of them will bolster India's options in the middle and lower middle order slots for Test cricket, which, as you've seen recently, the, let's say, options there are pretty threadbare, because one, Virat Kohli gets injured and suddenly it seems like a lot of people are scrambling for at least 4 or 5 different options. It's good that you're seeing someone like Rinku, who, despite being a T20I star, has also been working really hard and doing really well in domestic red ball cricket, get this particular reward. Now, speaking from good news and switching to bad news in the form of what has been taking place in the life of a Glenn Maxwell recently. Now, you remember yesterday we did a story wherein we spoke about how Maxwell had actually been spending a few days in the hospital because of things that went wrong on a night out. He had a little bit too much to drink, and there are now rumors, unsubstantiated ones I may add, that he did get into a bit of an altercation with certain people. And now Cricket Australia have publicly commented on the incident for the first time and said that, look, we are keeping a tab on what it is that is taking place, and any decisions, any investigations that have to be done will be done in due course. So that's not a good sign if you're a Maxwell. Again, this is coming off a time when Glenn Maxwell was actually one of the stars of an Australian team that went on to lift the ODI World Cup, and there were talks that he'd potentially be making a comeback in the test side of things as well. He too had expressed interest. Now, though, it does seem like Maxwell is once again, unfortunately, falling trap to that, let's say, problem wherein off-field issues tend to take away from his cricketing time. You'd remember that, of course, he had that freak incident, at a friend's birthday party, which put him on the shelf for a while. Then there was that golf cart accident, which again had him on the shelf. And now this. I mean, as talented and as great a cricketer as he is, perhaps needs to probably not get into so much trouble off the field, keep his nose clean, and ensure that his focus stays on what it is he's really good at, his cricket. Anyway, switching focus now from the world of cricket to the world of football, and the Blue Tigers will be in action later today. There is, in fact, of course, their last AFC Asian Cup game that will be taking place against Syria. We've done a detailed preview on it. It's on the website, so you can check it out if you so please. But the nitty-gritty of it is that India are all but out right now. I say all but because they're mathematically still alive, but it does seem very, very unlikely that they will be, let's say, making a comeback so good against Syria that they will, let's say, be into the knockout stage. It seems very unlikely. The best thing one can hope for is maybe that they show some more fight against the Syria team that are obviously weaker than an Uzbekistan and in Australia. That's the best hope we can have. And if they can get a win, so be it. Getting a win big enough to qualify for the knockouts, perhaps a bit much. Switching focus now from the AFC Asian Cup to the AFCON, and there's bad news regarding this man, Mohamed Salah. Now, you'd remember that there had been news broken that he was suffering a bit of a strain in his hamstring and that he would potentially have to return to Liverpool from this tournament and then get assessed before he could actually fly out again. Well, his agent has now revealed a little bit of a disturbing detail, is that his injury could keep him on the shelf for about a month plus. Now, that means that his AFCON is pretty much done and dusted, but it also means he's going to miss a few key games, let's say, for Liverpool. A Liverpool side that, by the way, are currently sitting at the top of the table. So there's obviously plenty of expectation at Anfield that they can mount another title challenge, and they would have wanted this man fighting fit. The good news is, though, it's only about a month, so if you can get him active there and there on, you'd hope that he'd play a key part in what should be a successful run to the title. But it's still a big blow for Liverpool, and an arguably even bigger one for Egypt, who, let's face it, were really reliant on their talisman. Bit of a sad, tragic news now, and this man right here, Luigi Reva, formerly or popularly known as Gigi Reva, seen as one of the greatest strikers that Italy has ever produced in their history, still their record goal scorer in international games. He scored 35. No one has ever come close to breaking that record. Well, he tragically passed away after suffering a cardiac arrest and then being in the hospital for a couple of days. Now, Reva is someone who comes from a very different era, but he was always revered by all of his peers as well as his contemporaries and, of course, the fans as well as the general public that got to see him. He was one of those players who made his name despite not playing for a big club. Remember, he only ever won one Serie A title, but that came with his hometown club of Cagliari, which again is not one of the bigger clubs in, let's say, Italy. If you're talking about the bigger clubs, is of course the Juventus, the Milans, the Inter AC, Napoli. Cagliari probably not up there and thereabouts at all. In fact, the last time, this incidentally was the last time that Cagliari ever won the league. So it shows you how important his goals were. And it's definitely a major loss for Italian football to have lost one of their biggest legends of the sport. Tennis news now, and Rohan Bopanna has in fact put himself on the cusp of a major milestone. You remember him and his doubles partner, men's doubles partner Matthew Ebden, had made it to the quarterfinals of the Australian Open, and what that has done is that it's guaranteed that they will be, or rather that Bopanna will be the second highest ranked player in the men's doubles circuit. But if Ebden and Bopanna can make it beyond that, if they can make it to the semi-finals, then Bopanna will in fact scale the summit of the ATP rankings for the first time. Yes, you heard that right. Bopanna will become the #1 ranked men's double tennis player in the world, which is quite the accomplishment when you consider that he's 43 years old. 43 years old. Most pro athletes are retiring at that point, and I know that playing doubles means that you've essentially halved the court and your movement isn't as much, so your longevity is definitely increased. But I mean, it's still mind-boggling to think you can be world #1 at your craft, 43 years, still going strong. He's just one win away, folks, and that match, that quarterfinal match of the Australian Open, is there on Wednesday. So if he wins that, then he's officially the world #1. It'll be pretty big if that happened. Last but not least, and this is a bit of news that really is something that is tragic if you're a fan of the sport of hockey. Pakistan ended up losing out on their final chance to qualify for the Olympics, the 2024 Olympics, and this now means that this is the third straight occasion where they have failed to make it to the Olympics. Remember, the last time they played in the Olympics was in 2012, where they ended up finishing 7th in the standings. 7th out of 12 is not great, but it is one better than how they finished in 2008. They finished 8th at that point in time. So it's safe to say that Pakistani hockey has been going through a not so steady decline, and the cows are very much coming home to roost at this point in time, because again, there have been systematic problems. There's not been as much investment. There's been corruption issues when it comes to how the sport has been run in the nation. And you're just seeing the results of it now. You're seeing the results of it when they fail to qualify with 3 successive editions of the Paris Olympics. And the Olympics mean something because, again, only the best of the best teams qualify. The qualifying process is very rigorous, so you have to be at your best or you ain't qualifying. Just ask the Indian women's hockey team. Pakistan now, though, 3 straight editions, no qualifying. Bit of a worrying sign. Sure, but what exactly is going to be done about it? We don't really know. You'd hope that if you're a fan of the sport, that something gets done, because Pakistan were genuinely a force in the sport at one point in time. In an India-Pakistan hockey match was always looked forward to because both teams were at a top level. Now, though, India are a far, far better side. Pakistan right down there with the lowest. And that's it from us on this edition of the Morning Wrap with Sports Today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We always enjoy having your company on these videos. And if you enjoyed it too, you can let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap that bell icon as well. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Don't forget to download the SportsTak app. And if you're already on the channel, go right ahead, check out some other videos we've done as well. And stay tuned, we have plenty more coming your way. For now, though, from my side, it's goodbye.